Yo, assalamu alaikum. I'm Preacher Moss, comedian extraordinaire, but I like to add a new title to my name. I'm Professor Preacher Moss. You know why? Because I just graduated. Wait a minute, let me get this out of here. This is it. Okay. Um, I'm Professor Preacher Moss, and it's come through the courtesy and the blessing of the Muhammad Ali Scholarship, which came through Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Now, listen, I know a lot of you people are thinking, can I do it? Yes, you can do it. This is the part where I'm supposed to say it's easy. It's not easy. Listen, if it was easy to get this degree, Trump would be a mufti. I digress. Listen though, for you brothers and sisters that are interested, go to bayanonline.org and you could be like me. Put yourself in the picture for Islamic education. Wait a minute, there's the picture right there. Sound like them, everybody. Take care. Preach them off. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. I hope everybody's having an amazing day. We're Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. It's hump day. I don't even know if it's actually halfway through the week, brothers. It's like, I guess it is. It's halfway through the week. In any event, I hope you're having a great day because it's so important. It's so important and vital for us to have good vibes throughout the day, to be able to see good intentions play out in front of us. And so we hope that somehow, some way, in some small way, fashion, or form, the Shout Out Show is able to do that for you. Just for a half hour or 45 minutes or however long the show goes. We hope that we could be something that's value added to your day. All right? So before we get started, let me give a shout out to anybody coming on the show for the first time. I know I say this a lot, but I realize there are people who do peek into the show. And I thank you. If you're coming on the show for the first time, some very simple SOS rules. Number one, you're welcome. You're always welcome now, and you're welcome to come back. Number two, don't feel shy. Don't feel shy. Jump in the comment section. Let us know who you are. Feel free. You can join in the conversation because that's what we do. We are a community of people with different ideas, different opinions, but it's all framed around respect and diversity. That's number two. Number three is, if you don't mind, we're trying to grow the platform a little bit. If it's your first time, please hit that subscription button, the notification button, and maybe even hit the like button if you like the show, okay? But here's the reason why you may want to do that. Because I'm going to introduce you to the Shout Out Show family, the Shout Out Show soldiers. These are the dedicated people who come to the show all the time. They're on time. They come here with opinions, they come here with great attitudes, and they come here and we become a family over the course of a year. All praises due to Allah. All right. So first up, we got our shout out. We got Sister Ree. Sister Ree, her title on the show is Craft Services, and she is show dietitian for Brother Preacher Moss. Make sure that I eat well so I perform well on camera. I appreciate that, Sister Ree. And I'll give you a call a little bit later. I need a favor. So that's number one. Number two is, she brings the nurturing vibe for everybody on the show. Big shout out to Derek Chase, your hubby, and my main man, your little man, Jawan. All right. Who we got next? This guy right here, I want to give a shout out to Altaf Rashid, who is our Canadian ambassador to the Shout Out Show. Do you know how big Canada is? Okay? You know how big Canada is? It's not as big as his brother's generosity. He comes to the show every day. He's on time. He tunes in. He gives us comments. He gives us du'as. He gives us all these things. And I'm just saying, it's a wonderful feeling. Brother Altaf, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you for being a part of the Shout Out Show experience. What we got next? We got Sister Ika. Sister Ika is blessing us with her presence because she is blowing up over in Depok, Indonesia. She had her order. She sent a very nice picture. I meant to bring it up of Sister Ika's iftar orders. They look 28 orders, and I'm very happy for you. May Allah bless you 28 times, and as the people eat your food, may you get a blessing for each person out of those 28 meals. Alhamdulillah. Continued success, Sister Ika. All right, who we got next? We got my brother, Johnny L. Thomas. To you, but to me, he's always going to be little brother JT. Join us on the show. And I have to say this, I reiterate, who's also joined me for this fast. He may not know this, but he made it halfway through the fast. JT, I don't know if you know, you made it halfway through the fast, man. Day 16 just hit us, I think, yesterday. And so, man, you were grooving, brother. I salute you. I think we all salute you, man. And hopefully we'll get together soon and we'll have our own iftar. We'll sit down and laugh about some of the things back in the day, some of the iftars we used to do back in the day. Much love to you and the Thomas family. Appreciate you. And of course, we have our consultant producer, Mr. Tana Whitfield, of whom, without this show, without whose help and assistance and encouragement, it really wouldn't be a show. It'd be a show, but it wouldn't be as good a show as it could actually be. Like I'm really out here on faith today because I'm not even near my computer. You know, we're using a different camera, and she is working the back and making this whole thing flow. So, big shout out to Sister Satana. You know, big shout outs, and I'm looking down the road for some big things from you. And I'm here to say, and I've said it to everybody, I pledge it in front of everybody, any way I can help, you have my support. All right. Before we go into our topic of the day, I do want to give a bit of an update. It's regarding the Ahmaud Arbery case. The third person involved in that case, the person who actually trailed the young man while he's being chased, let me say not trailed, chased by the two white men in their truck. The guy who had the camera, he's actually been indicted on murder charges. Thank goodness. Conspiracy to kidnap. Thank goodness. I don't know why it took so long. Because he said, I don't know if you saw his interview from back in May, where he was like, last year, as a matter of fact, where he was talking about it was disturbing to him. He didn't want to go through it. I'm like, yeah, but why didn't you just turn that camera over to the police when it happened? That's because you knew it was going to happen, brother. That's because you knew the two guys that are involved, and you knew what they were going to do. And you took a picture. You took it for sport. Mr. Brian Roddy, whatever your name is, you took it for sport. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to take your picture. It's going to take it this way, and they're going to take it that way. And they're going to take it to prison. Guarantee. Book it. All right, so let's get to our topic of the day. I saw this topic played out. It was actually an article on the CNN website. And I really hadn't thought about it. I really hadn't thought about it because, everything is so fluid when you're dealing with COVID and things like that. And the question was, when will it be safe to go back to places of worship? When will it be safe to go back to places of worship? Because we have people who are going, if you will, people are going back to the masjid, people are going back to churches. But we all are just one COVID outbreak away from being Brazil or India or someplace like that, because we're dealing with variants now. And I think the thing about going back to places of worship, I believe we can all go if two things happen. Number one, people observe the safety protocols. That's number one. Number two is if people have their vaccinations. But number three is a big one. Number three is, can we take the politics out of church, please? Can we take the politics out of church? One of the big things that's happened, and I want to say it's even been a setback in some regards, there are some churches that they're leaning towards one or another type of religious persuasion, if you will, particularly the conservatives. And the conservatives are putting out there that the vaccine doesn't work, and in some regards, I saw one preacher say that the coronavirus was a hoax and he was a prophet. And I mean, it's been something that's worrisome because it's gotten so far away from actually worshiping. When will we be able to actually go into places of worship is when we say all we want to do is worship. All we want to do is put all of our energy, all our efforts to the fact that we want to safely open up our places of worship, our masjids, our synagogues, our temples. All these places deserve to be open, but there's a modicum in our religion and our religious practices that you have to do it safely. What I don't hear enough is how do we open our masjids safely, which ironically lines up with the argument about how do you open a school safely. Churches, masjids, synagogues, they're a part of community life. They are part of community life. Therein, being a part of community life, they do bear responsibility for taking care of the community and protecting the community. I would like to commend the masjids around the country who actually shut down the masjids, knowing in some regards that if one person took ill, it could affect the whole process. And even one person becoming sick of COVID was one person too many. I look at it and I have to applaud the fact that there was innovation at the beginning going back to last year. Innovation with doing virtual cook bars, doing virtual fundraisers, and things like that. And I get it, brothers and sisters. I really get it that some of us are itchy. We got cabin fever. We want to break out with what we've been doing. But the point of the matter is, and I have to side with President Biden, it's like, you can't let your guard down. You can't let your guard down. I'll put it out like this. And this is actually going to be a topic. It means that, I always say Shaitan has a job to do. Shaitan has a job to do. Even in this situation, do you realize that if a COVID outbreak were to happen in a mosque or a synagogue or a church, it affects people's ability to go pray in congregation. Therefore, we must be extremely diligent. We must be extremely disciplined in how we approach this matter. Even if it means that when you go to the masjid, a place that used to hold 500 now only holds 40 because you're doing social distancing. It's a blessing to know, in this regard, that at least this activity, the knowledge of what's going on in terms of COVID, as a religious community, that we can address it in a logical or reasonable way and make decisions for the welfare of the congregation. I don't mean to make jokes, but I remember guys who said, nope, we're going to have church anyway. We're going to have church anyway. I remember there was a particular minister. He was a black minister, and he told the congregation, I don't worry about COVID. God told me to come here and minister to you. I'm here to minister. I ain't worried about COVID. And I said, okay. And then he died. Do you know what he died of? Yeah, COVID. Not funny, not smart, and definitely needless. So when I'm saying these type of things, brothers and sisters, it means that sometimes we do have to hold on. And I have to say this, and you know this, your faith cannot be defined by praying in an institution. Your faith, you live your faith outside of the masjid. We go to the masjid for certain things. We go to the church for certain things. We go to the synagogue for certain things. We go for community. Well, guess what? If you're talking about the good of the community and the welfare of the community, then we need to be leaders that say, listen, we have stopped coming to this mosque or this place or this religious institution because we understand that we have a fiduciary responsibility to our congregants as well as the people around our congregants. And the people around our congregants and around our congregants and around the people around our congregants. Safety, brothers and sisters, is a trust. And I just realized this a couple weeks ago. Safety, the willingness to promote safely, the willingness to execute safety isn't a manner, it's a trust. One of the reasons we get so upset with the police and things like that is because we feel like they broke that trust. So I say this. When will we be able to go back to places of worship? It's simple. When we can trust the conditions, where we can trust the math and we can trust the science. It's not hardcore. It's not something that has to really be figured out. You see what I'm saying? Now, I worry about the brother beside me without COVID or the sister behind me without COVID. I worry about the brother and the sister on a daily basis. In the middle of a pandemic, it should be an automatic. In the middle of a pandemic, we should know, brothers and sisters, that we're dealing with something extremely, extremely serious. And this is not the time for politics. I will say this about the Muslim community. I love you because we got to a point and said we're going to listen to the doctors. We're not going to listen to the politicians. And that has been a saving grace for us. And that may be the thing that allows us to get back and open our masjids up. Masjids aren't open, but they're not losing their minds with trying to get congregants. And let's be honest, having people in the masjid is important. That Sadaka box that I made jokes about yesterday, the guy's stealing it, that thing collects money and it collects revenue for the community. It helps pay for the masjid. It helps people in need. You know, so my point is, hey, listen, if you're not going to go to the masjid, go to the website or go to the Cash App or go to the Venmo or go to the PayPal, whatever masjid you go to, and donate like you did go to the masjid. Maybe they tapped out at 25 people that can come in. Well, donate, okay? It doesn't mean that we can't express and I want to say execute our responsibilities to the masjid and the ummah. We do. I can look around and say, hey, listen, things have changed. And let's be very, very careful. Even when COVID subsides, I said subsides, I didn't say go away. Because the idea of a vaccination is it's supposed to protect us against COVID. It does not give us a solution. It doesn't give us a cure, okay? Just like you get a flu shot, you take a flu shot to protect against the flu. Doesn't mean that you won't get the flu in some way, shape, or form. There's always levels to things in life, and it's the same thing with COVID. But mark my words. Mark my words. If we have an opportunity to do the right things around this pandemic, it's not only an issue of it allows us to open up our places of worship. It allows us to get back, hear me now, to some status of normalized living. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be like it was before COVID. That's not true. COVID has scarred our society and scarred our communities for good. We lost good people during COVID. We lost people we didn't think we would lose during COVID. We changed our habits. We changed how we believed about one another. We were uncertain about what was around the corner, economy, health. But this should be said. There's a reason to it. And I believe even though we're not able to go to our masjids like we were going to, it's a test. It's a test. So I'll throw this out and you guys can let me know what you think. You know, for years and years and years as a young comic, a young Muslim comedian, I struggled to go find masjids because I traveled around like every weekend. JT would vouch for me. Trying to find a masjid, trying to find a mosque, and da-da-da-da. And I didn't really have a Friday mosque because I was always on the road once I went full-time as a comedian. But the communities that I was able to engage in reminded me something. It reminded me of something. And what it reminded me of was the fact that God is everywhere. Allah is everywhere. So yeah, that building is nice. It has a beautiful structure. But that's not your religion. That's a place of worship, but it's not your religion. Your religion is meant to be lived loud and out in the open. It can't be confined by the edifice. It cannot be. And that being said, brothers and sisters, this is probably a great time to understand that we have to move out of the building. We have to tell people about our religion, whatever religion it is, how you're living. You know what? And we have to, away from the group, away from the herd, experience our religion. When nobody is watching, when nobody knows you, getting up for prayers, fasting. It's not about, oh, I'm not eating. No, it's about your intentions when you fast and what you want to get out of the fast. Do you notice that your fasts don't happen in the masjid? They really don't. You go through your life more 9 times out of 10. You work, you take care of your family, your kids, and you come home and you. Now you may go pray at the masjid, but the majority of your fast is done in society. Now, before anybody gets upset, I am not bashing masjids. I love the masjid. Ask anybody. However, we can't overlook it. So, Tana, do me a favor. Can you take over for a moment? I have a small computer problem, if you don't mind.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna throw some comments up here. I did comment. So to me, some of the behaviors haven't changed, and I said that people are still not taking it seriously. And you all can chime in on this. I still do find that even in some of the, religious environments or just broader environments, that there still is this, this hoax type of, conversation that's going on. And even going into some masjids, it's like, okay, well, we're still gonna pray close together and not really kind of adhering to kind of the 6 feet or even the 3 feet, right? So I think some of those are playing into why those, when I say the behaviors haven't changed. And so then will the spread change? Another comment that I said was that, but one thing that we did learn was that some of the religious rituals had, changed this year. So then when we do go back to this new normal, are we going to adhere to those religious, some of the rituals? And you all can chime in to see, if it's changed or even I know some of the churches. I talked to like my cousins and then their churches have changed and the synagogues. And so, what are some of the things that have changed in that space? For us, as far as it was always praying toe to toe, as they call it, toe to toe and shoulder to shoulder. So that definitely had to change, during this past year or so.
I
Um,
even think, Satana, I think Hajj is going to change.
yeah,
The
yeah,
scope of Hajj, you can't have, a million people at Hajj.
that's right, that's right.
They're selling Hajj packages right now,
Mhm,
which is, it's of course it's a pillar of Islam,
mhm.
but Islam is so adaptable.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
like churches.
Mhm,
My mom goes to a fairly sizable church.
mhm,
First Baptist Church of Glen Arden, Shiloh Baptist Church, very big churches. But
mhm,
I would say, African American churches kind of heeded. They heeded the call.
mhm,
They heeded the call, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that, the disparity of African Americans, the Latinos, people of color who were coming down with
mhm.
COVID, contracting COVID. It was in our
For sure.
it was in our
For
good
sure.
meeting places, not bad meeting places. It was our good meeting places. So that, they had to figure out something to do in terms of what worship was going to be. And I joke about some of the imams now that do the virtual. They do the virtual kutbahs, and they've learned to adapt. They understand what it is to put on a virtual kutbah, and they frame
Mhm,
their conversation appropriately in terms of the messaging.
mhm.
They figure out they make it palatable, um, and that's really really good. But I think
It is.
there's still that space where there's fatigue. There's
Sure,
fatigue.
there is. I think some of the emails need to kind of understand that it is virtual, and well, they had to do this before this, but kind of make it 20 to 30 minutes. Anything over that, you kind of lose the audience.
Imam Wazir said if you don't have it right, then you ain't got it right in 30 minutes. You ain't got it.
That's right, exactly. Like
Don't
everything else is
you
just
can't be trying to
filler.
yeah, don't be trying to wrap up at the 50-minute mark. You missed the mark.
Right,
You missed the mark.
right.
But
Also,
on the on the good side about the virtual cookbahs, it is nice that you can be watching the cookbah and you could pause it and go get something to eat. I think it's amazing. I was listening to one of Imam Wazir's thing, and I had some buffalo wings. It was amazing.
that's not how
It was
Juma works.
amazing. It was amazing. I had sweet tea and buffalo wings, and I've never felt so connected to my faith. I've never felt so connected.
Also,
Who knew that buffalo wings Islam could like
See,
look.
hand in hand,
Yeah, I'm
right?
like, you
Hand in
could get
hand.
more. I'm like, boy, that's the Converse special secret sauce right there, boy. I was like, man,
Yeah.
yeah, you could pause
Okay.
and you be praying to your big screen.
Altaf has a comment.
All top, what you got for me, all top?
Let's see.
Uh,
Do they have registration in places of worship over there? Over here, before our latest lockdown, we had to register for a spot. So some
yes,
are, yeah.
yeah, the ones I've been to, you gotta register.
Hmm.
You gotta register, or you gotta know somebody. It's like going to the club. Hey, you got a reservation?
You gotta get on that list.
Just be like, you got a reservation? I got my rug. No, do you have a reservation? I was like, look, man, go and take these two falafels
No,
back. Let me go
like
and do what I gotta do. You know
and
what?
then some
It's
here
gonna be
are
like
like,
that.
yeah. Some here are
I
saying
had a
like you can't go into like you can't make wudu in the masjid. You have to do it before you come there. So you
yeah.
know,
That's the only one that's kind of touchy because you could be on the way to work and hey, you break your wudu. Hey, hey, I was like, hey, man, like I drive a long distance. I might be driving 30, 40 minutes. I might start out with wudu, but I may not make it there with wudu. And
okay.
I don't
So
want to be out in the parking lot with 2 bottles of Avion talking about, hey, putting it on like cheap cologne. But you know what? The funny though, I was
Adam
laughing.
Khan, Adam says,
Adam, what's Lake
um,
One Salon even before
even
COVID?
before COVID, I would tune out a minute. Come on, Adam. Um, at minute 31. Have you ever had those wings in Buffalo? Adam's encouraging you.
Nah, yeah, Adam. Like I said, Shaitan has a job. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna beat this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie about wings. Here's real talk. I like wings, but that's just a lot of work to get that meat off the bone. It's, I mean, why not just get a whole chicken? What's so special about little wings, little baby wings? I'm sorry. I mean, you eat them and you got to pull them and a little bit. And I don't like. I've said this before. I don't like the sauce and stuff on my fingers. I don't like it. In fact, there's a Muslim joint around my mom's house called K and J's. I think it was K and J's or something like that. Really good food. And I remember the guy came out, and I was with my cousin Frank. And he came out, and my cousin Frank ordered some wings, and he was like, "Preach, have some of these wings." I don't like stuff on my hands, so I literally, like, I took a wing and then I took a knife and a fork, was trying to get the meat off, and the chef, Muslim brother, came out and he was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Stuff for the law, stuff for the law. You're supposed to eat those wings with your hands." He was talking about how he was supposed to. He was talking about how it's sooner to eat with your hands. I was like, dude, I'm sure it is, but these are barbecue wings. Like, show me in the Quran where it says
Buffalo sauce. Yeah.
yeah, barbecue wings, and I will listen to you. Talking about the enzymes mixed with your fingers when you use. I was like, dude, now I don't eat any other wings. It is what it is, man. I was
Oh,
thinking
okay.
about giving it a shot till you said that right there. It's just like people
Hmm.
say things sometimes, Satana. They need to let it go. Like, you're winning. Just
Sure.
stop. You're
Hmm.
winning. Like, a guy
Yeah.
was trying to get me to go to Nigeria, right? And he was pumping me up about Nigeria, and I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to go to Nigeria. He's like, no, you should go, brother, you should go. And I'm like, nah. Then he caught me in a weak moment. He's like, man, in Nigeria, there's Muslims. I said, yeah. He goes, there's business opportunities. I'm like, yeah. He said, man, the people, they love American. I said, really? Yeah. I said, man, I might go. He says, man, I'm going to tell you something. He says, don't worry about getting kidnapped because I got good security. I was like, oh, hey, how did we go from Muslims to getting kidnapped? Like, you just killed the conversation. But the next time you want to go to, they're going to change the masjid from Club Sultan. They're like it's from Master Sultan. Like Club Sultan. I'm gonna pull up one day and it's gonna. They're gonna have a velvet rope outside of the match. Do you have prayer reservation? Come on now. I'm with him. No, no, no. What's your word? Get back. Get back.
Oh man.
But hopefully it
Reese,
doesn't last. Hopefully it does not last too long. It doesn't
mm,
last. We'll see.
Reese said light sauce on your wings. Lots of LOL.
When I was a kid, I played musical instrument. I've said this before. I played a musical instrument, and I didn't like the sticky stuff in my hands because it get on my instrument. Now, years after I stopped playing my instrument, I still don't like sticky stuff. I guess in the event one day I become proficient with an instrument, I don't have to worry about sticky stuff. But yeah, I'm that dude. I'm that dude. I can't handle it. I used to eat fried chicken with a napkin. Like I would double the napkin and grab it and eat it like that. It took me years to like be able to take chicken apart, and I'm still not good, but I'm half-hearted with taking chicken apart. You know, I need a knife and a fork. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how this fits into when we will get back to places of worship,
I don't either. I
but
don't
when
either.
we do, when we do, brothers, I'm gonna tell y'all, don't have wings there. Don't have wings. That's the moral of the story.
We're gonna take this last comment. You can read from your mom.
Let's see. Miss Eleanor Bus says, have it going on with your graduation? On the SOS show, stand tall and don't fall. All right. All right. Stand tall and don't fall. Yeah, they were here watch me do my video for my graduation. So they had to be quiet.
Very good. So yeah, you're gonna air that on the show.
I might air it on the show
I think so.
before we goes to graduate. I think I'm gonna air it on the show. I
All right,
believe the
when's
Shout Out
graduation?
Show family deserves to see that video, and I'm gonna give it to them.
For
You
sure.
deserve it, family. I'm gonna give it to you before Bayan Islamic Graduate Institution, graduate school gets a hold of it. That's what I'm
When's
gonna do.
graduation?
The Bayan graduation, I think, is the 16th of May, and the one for the actual school, Claremont School of Theology, is on the 19th. So I'm pretty
Oh
much
yeah.
gonna show up for the Bayan one, but not for the Claremont. I'm not going to both. I'm only going to one graduation.
Mm,
You
nice.
see how how low end that is. I'm so terrible. I am terrible. I should be a better individual and attend both, but I'm not a good
You should
individual, brothers
be.
and sisters. I'm not.
You
I just
should be.
told you about myself. I watch cookbars virtually and I pause them and I eat wings with them sometimes because you know why? You know why? Because I can.
What's that? What's that? I'm gonna let you wrap up.
All right, let's get to our sponsors, please. We want to give a big shout out, a big salute, a big shout out to, of course, BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Make sure you can go check that website out. If you don't have a computer and you don't live in this present century, you can call 1-800-679-3175. Again, that's 1-800-679-3175. However you want to get down and get down, Be Financially Independent is there to help you. Great. Now, you just heard me talk about graduating. Of course, I'm talking about Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Again, that's Bayan Islamic Graduate School, who have been gracious to sponsor our Ramadan Reflections. You've seen two of them. You got another one coming this week. Actually, we're going to have Brother Richard Sclafford on Sunday, who's going to be talking about that cryptocurrency market, not just the currency, but the market, how you guys can get in the market and hopefully succeed and grow your own revenues. Okay? So listen, that's it for me. You guys have been great. I appreciate you. And, we're going to tune in on Thursday. I'm thinking I want to have some fun on Thursday for our Throwback Thursday, brothers and sisters. It's just too much stuff out there. Like I feel like things are getting better, but at the same time, there's still a lot of stuff out there. So let's lighten it up tomorrow. Hopefully you guys had a good time today. And I just want to wrap up and say, hey, listen, with everything that's going on, I love our institutions, our faith institutions, and I pray that we're able to get back to them at some point in time. But I pray that we're able to get back to them safely. That's my only thing, safely. That's my show for today, brothers and sisters. That's the SOS. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your shout out show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next shout out show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarif Attar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifattar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.